Okay, so we've got our robot moving forward. The problem is he never stops. So what we need to do is, and this is autonomous again, so we can't get any input from our controllers. So what we have to do is, after a certain amount of time has elapsed, what we want to do is we want to set the power back to 0, and that will stop the robot from moving forward anymore. So how do you delay a certain amount of time? Well, let's go to our linear op mode up here, and there is a function here called sleep. And basically it will cause our program to pause for this many milliseconds. So there are 1,000 milliseconds in a second. So this will cause the robot to sleep for, or nothing to happen basically, for 1 second. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put that in right here after we set the power. So we set the power to 0.5. The wheels will start to turn, the robot will move forward, and then this will happen, and as long as the power is still applied here, as long as it hasn't changed from 0.5, the robot will continue to move forward. So it will move forward for 1 second, and then I want it to stop. And the way I get it to stop is by setting the power back to 0. So I'm going to make a copy of this, so duplicate it, and then after I wait for 1 second, then I'm going to set the power back to 0. So our robot should go for 1 second, and then it should stop. And again, we're not doing anything down here. All of this gets executed once before we enter our loop down here. So what determines how far the robot is going to move before it stops is a couple of things. The longer you set the sleep time to, the further the robot is going to go. The higher the power is, the farther your robot is going to go. So how do you know how far the robot goes in 1 second with the power at 0.5? Well, it's just a matter of trial and error. So you can either increase the power to make it go further in 1 second, or you can increase the number of milliseconds and leave the power the same, and it will go further. So if you're trying to make it go a specific distance, the only way you can really do that is through trial and error. So you just have to play around with either these numbers up here or this number here or both of them, and when you've got the robot going what you think is the correct distance, then you can leave these numbers set at whatever those values are to make that happen.